Welcome back, boys, and let's get into it. Hey, Z, man, I always gotta watch the hand. I really like the brother. I give it a 10. Across the Spider-Verse came out, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, and ooh, you're gonna probably be asking, was it a good movie? Hell yeah, it was. God damn, I don't even know where to begin, honestly. There's plenty of things to talk about. First of all, the cameos are insane. I love how every character, like, even though they have a little bit of screen time in the movie, like the side characters, I love that each of them feel like developed and like well thought out. Like the ones I'm gonna mention are Spider-Punk. I love Spider-Punk in the movie, and I also love Spider-Man India. He's also really sick. Overall, let's say, did it accomplish the hard thing of being better than the original? And I can't really fully say that this was better than the first one, but I do think its highs are just as highs as the first one, if that makes any sense. What I mean by that is that I love it. I love the animation, and I love all like the cool bits in there, and the choreography is amazing. Fluid animation left to right. This is probably the most beautiful movie I've ever seen, and it's stylized in every sort of way, which I really love. The soundtrack, though, I gotta say, isn't as memorable to me personally than the original soundtrack for the Spider-Verse one. I think it's mostly because it doesn't have the Post Malone Sunflower. I'm gonna say it, this movie doesn't have like its like iconic, like, you know, main song. Basically, like the theme of the movie has like it usually has like a song, but I didn't really feel it as much in this movie compared to like the first one. But overall, it was really good. I gotta say, it was really good. Like, this movie was insane. People are calling it the best Spider-Man movie ever, and I can see why they think that. There basically are like two main characters, and you got Gwen and you got Miles. So like the prologue is basically just setting up for Gwen's role like throughout the movie, and then you get into Miles' role like throughout the rest of the movie. Like, kind of switches like main characters, but you still like understand like what she's going through. But then like you don't understand like you're kept in the dark about like what the Spider Society really is and like what they really do, and you're as blind as Miles is, basically, which I really enjoyed. And also, like, the movie's very fun. It's a very like lively movie. That's why I just want to say you should watch it. And we're just gonna go for regular rating. I'm gonna say, hey, it's an obvious like 9 to 10 for me. 9 to 10, mostly because it hit me with a to be continued. This movie was cocky. This movie said, oh, this is just part 1 to part 2. Just wait until you see what I got left cooking. So I'm gonna let this movie cook. Hey, maybe in the future this might even go to a 10. But right now, for me, it's a 9 because you blue balled me in this movie. Like, I wanted to see what was gonna happen next. And I'm like, ooh, I just want to know. All right. And let's get into spoiler talk right now, okay? This is for the spoilers, just so then, because this movie's still out. But yeah, spoiler-wise for the movie, let's say this. And then I also really liked the Spot in the Spider-Verse too. He was really cool to watch. Just like his comedic timing was really funny. And I thought it was funny that he beat himself up. Miguel in the movie. Miguel is basically the antagonist, a secondary antagonist in the movie. Like, he's not the main antagonist, but he's like he's not the villain of the movie. The villain is Spot, obviously, because they're trying to prevent Spot from destroying the multiverses, basically. And like Miguel, I think his plans, or like his idea of what a can event is very flawed, mostly because he says that the uncle dying would be like the cause of the can event, and if you stop the uncle from dying, then the universe like falls apart. My problem is that he isn't really shown like actually like stopping an uncle from dying is how he got to that conclusion. How he got to the conclusion was the fact that he actually universe hopped into a universe where he was already dead, but then he switched bodies and like he's now living the life that his dead self is living basically. How would that make the universe unstable? And that's kind of the thing. Like it kind of keeps it ambiguous like is his plan really or is his like idea of the canon event like really wrong, and why did that universe actually fall apart too, because like that's also left ambiguous. And that's why I like about it, because you get to like spark debate about it too, like because you're not sure if Miguel is really right in this situation. His theory has flaws, but it could also be like more accurate. We don't know. That's the thing. I like people talking about it. One of the things on TikTok though I thought was really weird was that people were connecting themes with characters. And what do you mean by that? So what I mean by that is that like people were just straight up saying that there's a theme of like Miles not being accepted as a Spider-Man and he's an anomaly, right? But then there's also like the secondary layer of it being shown that like originally like when he made his debut, he was basically like hated by a lot of people when they were saying, "This is not Spider-Man. This is not Spider-Man." And like, you know, a lot of people were also racist about it too because he was the first black Spider-Man. People are trying to make the connection that Miguel in the movie is also racist from that, but it's kind of like faulty evidence. Like, there's a bunch of other black Spider-Men in the movie too, but he's not racist. He's just really scared of basically everything falling apart, and he really doesn't want that to happen. Okay, like Miguel is just like, please, I don't want this universe to fall apart. I don't want everything falling apart if you save your dad. And Miles is like, nah, I can do both. Watch me. And I don't know, like, what his plan is when he says, watch me. Like, I don't know what Miles' plan is. I still think it's kind of like, he's really putting a lot at risk for saving his dad, but it's also understandable that why would you straight up let your dad die, too? So it's kind of like, what would you really do in this situation? This is kind of like a no-win scenario. And then people are also saying that the fact that Gwen's father like quit being captain, so that's negating his canon event of dying. But I could also argue like, hey, maybe she, you know, makes friends with another captain and maybe he ends up dying and then that still fulfills like the canon event. That's like also another thing where it's like, what determines the canon event, right? Oh, it's like not clear if the canon event like is 100% too. Like, will the universe straight up fall apart or not because of like his own canon event that he prevented that from happening, like from him dying in that universe? You know, it's just like, it's weird, you know, it's complicated, like what a canon event is. There's also another thing I want to talk about. I love Peter Parker as a dad. It's actually amazing. I love him with his child, mostly by the fact that he's happy. He has a kid. Mayday is what she's called. And she's so cute. And she's just like really wholesome in the movie. You know, she's just like, she also has like a web thing by herself too, and I just thought that was really adorable in the movie. And let me talk about Spider-Punk. He is so cool. He's Miles like number one like homie, basically, because everybody's against him in the movie because they're just trying to like stop him from saving his dad. But yeah, like Spider-Punk from like frame one, he's like, nah, I hate this society, this Spider Society. And he's like, hey, why? And then he's like, oh, I can't tell you why right now, but like I'm only here to like watch this one, and that one's Gwen, and Gwen's kind of going through her own character arc in the movie too. But yeah, it's really cool because I love like if you pay attention to what Spider-Punk is doing, and it's also kind of hard for me to understand what he's saying, mostly because he's British, and I don't understand British languages, and I don't understand the British like accents. But I think it's really cool too because like he's just like, if you're paying attention, he's just like crafting like a teleporter for him to give to Gwen later, which I think is really sick because he makes his own teleporter because he's Spider-Man. Spider-Man like makes his own stuff, which I think is really sick. And yeah, I love his character. Also, I love like his animation in the movie. I love his own style in the movie too, where like he changes like his animation style, like color wise. He changes his color palette like from from like regular colors to like black and white to pink to everything. But it's also like kind of shown like all like comic-y too, which is really sick. Or like it's more even like a punk style. I know a lot of people can like say like what it actually is in the comments below. But yeah, I love his character. And I love all the cameos in the movie. My favorite one is the Donald Glover one. I finally get to see what he would look like as the Prowler. And it's amazing. It's so sick. And it's just like, it's everything I ever would have wanted. And another thing too I want to talk about is the Spider-Man chase. That was beautiful. That was one of the most beautiful chase scenes ever. And if it were like, if this was made by like another traditional Marvel movie, or if there was like Chris Pratt in the movie, I swear to God, No Sleep Till Brooklyn would be playing in this scene, and it would fit so well. Like it was a Mario, and then it was it was a Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but that one's also been in it. And the ending of the movie, the cliffhanger, blew. Oh, okay. So Miles gets transported into his Spider's universe, the one that he was supposed to get bit. That's why he's calling it an anomaly. So he gets transported to that universe, and it is terrible. The world is basically like falling apart because it is a world without Spider-Man, also a world without the Avengers. And everything in between, every hero. Like, there's no other hero. Like, that's it. There's no other hero in Brooklyn. That's gone. No hero ever. And yeah, so it's unfortunate. Like, that's where that Miles like was supposed. I'm assuming it was that Miles specifically in that Earth. It was like Earth 42. That's where he was supposed to be Spider-Man. But also it caused like a ripple effect where because he didn't get bit by a spider, his dad also ended up dying too. That's unfortunate. And then that's where it ends. And then also like all the other Spider-Man, like Peter B. Parker, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man India, Spider-Punk. Like they're like, all right, we're gonna try to find Miles. Like the ragtag group of Spider-Man. It's so sick. And yeah, honestly, I love the cameos. I love the movie. And I really can't wait to see like what the rest of the movie is basically. And I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be really sick. I really hope we also get to see like Miguel's backstory too. I want to know why he has them chompers and why he only has a temporary Spider-Man power. He also says he's not. There's like a lot of questions I have for the movie left, but yeah, like there's a lot of questions I have left, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna be answered in part 2. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys get me a subscriber. Hit me in the comments below. Like, what do you think I should have talked about in the video? And maybe I might do a part 2 to this review. Who knows? A solid 9 for this movie. Like, it's so sick. I just wish it was a full story. I would, if it was like a 5-hour long movie, I would have watched it. But yeah, hit you guys with the next time. Bye bye.
I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man.